Welcome, everyone. Regular meeting of council, Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories in Tlakapwa and Silk people. Sorry for bumbling through that. Late items. Any late items? Late items. Public input. Any public input? Shaking of heads. Adoption of minutes. Regular council meeting minutes, August 26th, 2025. Recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on August 26th, 2025 be adopted. Councillor Ogun, Councillor Baxter, any errors or omissions? No? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 5-1, Legion Crosswalk to be presented by Alphonse Labbé, Legion President. Alphonse, please come on up and hit that button and we'll make you live. You are on, sir.
Here we go.
Welcome.
Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Alphonse Labbé. I'm a veteran, service officer, and the president of the Merritt Legion here in town. I'm also a retired RCMP member and have served for 28 years, with my last posting being here in Merritt. I also came back for 3 years as a reservist and went to Logan Lake for 3 years. So I topped off my force with Logan Lake. Our executives and members would like to ask the mayor and council if they would give us special permission to have a commemorative crosswalk at the corner of Boat Street and Quilchana Avenue from the CIBC towards the Legion. This crosswalk would represent the remembrance of our veterans and serving members. This has been done in many municipalities with great response from the local public. Next year, 2026, will be the 100th anniversary of Legions across Canada. The Legions here in Merritt was started in 1928 and continues to help out our community in many ways. What I am asking is that the municipality assist in adding a few maple leaves and a scroll at each end. The scrolls would read, "In honor of those who served and sacrificed," or lest we forget. If this works out well, we could possibly add another crosswalk on Boat Street, possibly near the RCMP office in Merritt here, going across to the RCMP office. I have spoken to quite a few members of the public who thought this would be a great remembrance to our veterans and serving members. The Legion would pay for the stencils and the paint if the city would paint the maple leaves and the scrolls at each end. Of course, we would follow all provincial and traffic rules for crosswalks in order to do this. And attached, I brought in with my memo were some photos of different municipalities with different types of crosswalks. We are not going to go extravagant on this. We're just going to start off with a couple of maple leaves on. Do you all have the copies of the? Yep. Since I put in this form here, I've got pictures of the Osoyoos branch, which we could maybe pass around. Just look at how they've done theirs. And we could possibly do similar to the same thing. So what I'm asking is not the city to do everything for us, but we could help do the work. And we'd have to, of course, we'd have to do it properly, closing off the sidewalks and just put in the maple leaves on there. And I think that would be a good remembrance for our veterans. That's my request, Your Worship.
Thank you, Alphonse. So I've always been a big proponent of crosswalks. I think we could do the Centennials. I think we could do Rotary. I think we could do RCMP. I think we could do several. So I've always been a big proponent. The only question that I have, and I guess I'm not sure if Mr. Green can answer this or not, are we in control of our city sidewalks or our crosswalks in the city, or is this a MODI? Will we have to get in touch with MODI for this, or? On our road. Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, or Your Worship, I did get a note from Rick Green, and he sent me a note saying an undertaking like this should be presented to council first to determine whether they support the initiative. As crosswalks are traffic control devices, we need to ensure that they meet Transportation Association of Canada standards, and the province has a standard for decorative sidewalks on the, so he seems to be right up on it, and there is a valid link on there that you can look at all that
Excellent.
stuff.
Councillor Charney.
I personally think it's a great idea. Not only does it celebrate our veterans and our serving force, it also shows national pride. It's a unique visual representation of our Canadian history. So it's not just for one group, it's for all of us. And I have seen the Osoyas, and for the life of me, I can't remember where we were. And we were in a little community, and they had the Maple Leafs in the middle of their sidewalks also. And I thought it was great. So I think it's a great program that you are trying to get going.
Thank you.
Councillor Petrosi.
Thanks, Al, for your presentation. I just had a few concerns. That corridor is the busiest, that intersection is the busiest in town. The amount of pedestrians hit in that corridor and collisions. I'm a little concerned about drivers being distracted, pedestrians being distracted. I think it's a great idea, maybe not having it there, but having it somewhere else in town, but not there. I just think it's being an ex-traffic member and ex-member. I just think it'd just be too distracting for drivers and for pedestrians in that area.
Yeah.
So
this
that's
spot is not something that's confirmed.
right.
We
right.
just to do something else because it was
I think it's
closest.
great if
Yeah.
we can place it somewhere else in town, but I think that's the wrong spot.
Okay.
But I think it's a great program.
Councillor Rogan.
Thank you. So personally, I like the idea. I think that's something that we can explore. My only, if I can call it concern, it is maintenance. We have seen other crosswalks at MBIT as well as the hospital, and they look great when they are brand new painted. But if they are not maintained, so it's like, what was the purpose here? What was the goal here? So they don't look as appealing as they should be. So the question for staff, how often do we have to paint the crosswalks, regardless of any design? And what is the cost? I need to understand who's going to be in charge of that maintenance for that specific crosswalk.
CAO.
So we paint lines on the road, including crosswalks annually, in order to ensure that they maintain the appropriate amount of visibility. So you can see, for instance, on Vote coming down from the hospital towards the detachment and into Central Park, how much those lines, which were painted last year, have deteriorated, right? They're not even a year old, and we see a lot of deterioration. And that, when we're talking about crosswalks, that's pedestrian traffic as well as vehicular traffic going across those. So it would have to be done annually to continue to have that appealing look. Otherwise, it just looks like we didn't care. And it would depend, the cost of the paint would ultimately depend on what this crosswalk looks like. So, how much paint we use or what colors, because normally we wouldn't have red or black in quantity. We would have white and yellow for the stuff that we do ourselves. So we wouldn't know until we knew what design looked like.
Councillor Etcher.
I personally am in support of having the flags there. It promotes pride, especially with all the fights with the US with tariffs and everything right now. I think it's really, but especially for the veterans, having a symbol near the Legion. And I think having color downtown, especially near icons like the Coldwater Hotel, I don't think that we have a better place. It's right off a main road. It'll be seen by people. It's near a lot of the activities downtown near Spirit Square. I think it's a great spot, and we can deal with the stenciling. I see lines being painted all the time in the parking lots everywhere, and it gets done quickly. I don't think it's a big cost time-wise. I think it's probably not going to make much difference, and I just think it'd be a nice thing to do, like the other communities like Osoyoos do. Thanks.
Councillor Baxter.
I think this is a great program, and I could see this going from that sidewalk and every third sidewalk chunk having another Maple Leaf going all the way to the Legion, all the way down to the other crosswalk. I think the students and everybody in the town would love to see more recognition from the veterans.
Councillor Charney.
Once you have the stencil, you have the stencil. So this is to the CAO. Every year, isn't that impossible to repaint the Maple Leafs every year?
Microphone. CAO.
Thanks. Weird. It would, again, entirely, it's not impossible. It's just one more service. And I think on top of that, council will need to consider possibly some sort of discussion about what kinds of painted sidewalks additionally will come to council. You will have a request probably for other types of painted sidewalks. And once that starts happening, then the cost goes up, right? Like if we are doing a Every Child Matters sidewalk, Pride sidewalk, you know, a crosswalk, I should say, will depend. And if council is going to approve one, then you should probably think about some sort of standard or policy about what kinds of sidewalk or crosswalks we will do and what our contribution to those will be. And how much we're gonna have to do.
I understand that
So it's
theory.
totally doable, but it will get more work as more groups ask for it.
What I'm saying is the maple leaf represents every group, not just this individual group and this individual group. It represents Canada. It represents all of us. So that's where I think an exception should be made. And is the Legion willing to pay for paint?
Yes,
Or-
we are. Yeah. We will pay
Okay.
for the paint and the upgrades every year.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Councillor Egan.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea as well. I am concerned about, as Councillor Petrosi mentioned, that particular intersection. And my other concern was, again, it kind of would open the floodgates for other groups to come in and, because I think, did we not already turn down one or say you could do it, but you had to do it on your own? And, you know, you said there's that piece of sidewalk and you can do with it what you want, but you have to maintain it. That's my rep.
Okay, thank you. So when I go to TNRD in Kamloops, right on Seymour and Victoria, busiest place in the world, there's the yellow or the orange sidewalk with the feathers. I don't think that's ever caused an accident at any point in time. So I've always been a big proponent of this. I would love to see everybody have a crosswalk in town. I think it would bring people to your community, to be honest with you, just like the Icon murals. I mean, if everybody had one. So the next situation here, I guess, would be go to staff to find out all of these questions and it can come back to us because we can't make a decision here tonight. This is just to see if we'd actually want to move in this direction. And I don't see anybody that's really opposed. I mean, we can also talk about a new location if council does feel that it's an issue, but I think we hand this to staff and let staff bring us back a deal. See
Yeah, I mean, as Mr. Bay said, there are standards.
Yep.
For traffic, so if the director will be able to provide you with those standards and you can make a decision based on the engineering standards, like, you know, the experts will give you guidance on that through the provincial standards. So we can bring a briefing note to that effect in the next one or two council meetings, depending on Mr. Green's schedule of many things that he's doing. Because we probably won't paint it before next spring, or did you want it before Remembrance Day?
It would have been nice for Remembrance Day.
Yes.
But if we can't, then we just have to.
maybe we
wait that
could put a
extra-
little sign that says coming next year.
Coming soon.
Look like this.
But yeah, so
And-
as soon as Rick can get something
Yeah.
together.
The next best spot that we thought of was by the Cenotaph, but there are no crosswalks there.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to maybe put one from each parking lot going towards the Cenotaph.
Well,
And-
then I think Councillor Etchard is correct. It's close to the Legion. It's on the way to the Legion. So I think for me, I think it's the right spot. So. Are you gonna push that button or what? There we go. Councillor Chard.
I was thinking if there is opposition from the CIBC down, there's also the sidewalk that's closer to the Legion from the Planet Fitness across.
Yes,
That is another possibility.
that's another possibility, yes.
So, Mr. LeBay, what we'll end up doing here is we'll end up having this going to staff and then we'll start getting it fleshed out and then we can let you know how that's all gonna look.
Thank you for
But I
your time.
appreciate
everyone.
you bringing this to us. I think it's exciting. Thank you very
Shut
much.
it off.
Appreciate it. Yes, please shut that off. Thank you. 5.2, Canate, to be presented by Barb Hurd, Rod Anderson and Hiram Peterson. Come on up here, Hiram. Push that button. And you're up.
Good evening, your worship and council members. I'm here today to the executive director of the Canadian Friendship Society. I'm here today to bring some information forward in regards to us trying to put together a bit of a wellness center. We're currently in negotiation with Spam Developments to lease a building at 2199 Cooley Avenue, right on the corner of kind of just kitty corner across the alley from where we're at right now. And the plan is to put right now, we're in the absence of Interior Health, our clinic with nurse practitioner has moved on to another location. I'm not sure if that's our ultimate goal, to get a clinic back in this facility, but it's a wellness center. We're looking at, we're also negotiating with BC Housing to put in a temporary winter shelter for the evening overnight hours for this location, upwards of possibly 10 beds overnight. And in the daytime, have a bit of a warming center or a part of the wellness clinic or center. And we also have MS DPR on site. We'll be a full-time staff member there, as well as our Durgan Health counselor will be operating out of this facility on a daily basis. So at some point in time, we will be looking to come to the council and request a temporary use permit for this type of facility or this type of usage. At this point tonight, it's just for information purposes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Regan.
Quick question, is that where Nicola Valley Vet what used to be?
No, it's across the street from there, right on that corner where it goes around.
Okay.
We're on the
What's
west side, where the daycare used to be. Actually, used to be our Spirit of Youth program.
Yeah.
Way back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hiring for myself, questions would have arise on as far as security, drug use, drug availability. We have problems in the community.
Right.
And we need to address that because we need to keep the downtown safe as much as possible.
Right.
So I think that's one thing that we'll have to have conversations on because it's a very real thing.
Right.
I think, having a warming center is a good idea. It's tough out there in the wintertime. But I think we need to have lots of conversations on this to just see where we're all going on it, sort of thing. So I appreciate you bringing it forward. Questions, anyone else? CL?
And I think in our discussions with the Friendship Centers that this is an opportunity for us to provide a direction for people during the day to go to, rather than being in the downtown with nothing to do. So when we're asking people to move along, we actually have nowhere to send them to. And a program like this would support having something available to people during the day that we could then ask them to leave, Spirit Square or Quilchan Avenue and move to a day program that offers a safe space for them to be while making our downtown safer. So that's why we've asked Kate to come and initiate this
100%.
conversation.
100%. Yeah, you said 10 beds?
Pardon?
Did you say 10?
Overnight, yeah, up to 10 beds, yeah.
And you basically open from like October
1st to March 31st.
March 31st. Okay. Okay, excellent. Councillor Sharp.
So if you're planning on operating from October to April, in the off months, do you have any other suggestions for people who like to congregate maybe downtown? And the reason I ask is because I work across the street from there and I've come into the parking area at nighttime and had to deal with some less than pleasant situations. So I'm just, wondering if people are encouraged to go to other places, whether it be the shelter in the summertime, summer months, warmer months, but just because I know right now, sometimes people will be in different parts of the downtown and sometimes they're a little aggressive. So that's a concern for people in the business area.
Yeah, I think during the summer months, I think the shelter is a good idea. I just talking with the executive director of the shelter today, and he indicated that over the summer months, they have 40 beds there, and they're an average of 35 to 37 on average. So they've always got a bed or two available or some space, so that we kind of direct them to that location overnight
And
in summer months.
Are you planning at this wellness center to have maybe some counselors or?
Well, right, we would have our drug and alcohol counselor there on a daily basis.
Okay.
Barb, MSDPR would be working there on a daily basis as well during the day, looking at some cultural programming, other programs and stuff, services that we could provide. So that's kind of sky's the limit once we get the building, try to put our heads together
Okay,
find out what we could offer there.
thanks.
So anyone else? Staff will, I'm assuming, work with you as we move forward on this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hiram. Appreciate it. Get you pushed that button. Thank you very much. Unfinished business bylaws 7.1 City of Merit Records Retention Bylaw number 2404 2025. This bylaw was recommended to council from the September 4th, 2025 Policy, Bylaw and Review Committee. We have 3 recommendations. I'll read the first one. Recommendation that the City of Merit Records Retention Bylaw number 2404 2025 be read a first time. Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Egan, or Etchart, any questions on this? Councilor Egan.
And I know it's addressed later, but I thought we had discussed that we would mention how the use of AI would be used in this. I know, but when you're putting the records online, right? You're digitizing it?
So this would all be in a secure City of Merit portal. So there wouldn't be access to this outside of the City of Merit.
Okay, and you're not going to be using any AI to create these,
No.
taking them from paper to
No.
digital?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Hogan.
Thank you. So a few comments about the policy. I was just reviewing the policy. It talks about the record retention schedule, but it's not providing one. So I think that it would be important for us to have a good understanding. Without seeing one, it's unclear what timelines or requirements will be.
We would be following the required legislation for records retention. So that's provincially mandated and will be changed as provincial. So we haven't provided you the schedule because it's a provincially mandated timelines. We're not choosing those timelines. So for human resources, it could be 6 to 7 years. For complaints, it could be a certain period of time, but those are all legislated. There's no decision to be made by council on those.
Right. So still, I think that I personally, I would like to see it in advance. That's one comment. The second comment, it's about, all employees and elected officials must comply. It talks about, we have to follow pretty much this. But what happens if something does not comply? What's going to be the consequences? What are going to be like? What are they going to be facing? So it's like, okay, so we have to follow it. But in the event that somebody doesn't, what's going to be the consequence? That was a little unclear on that aspect. And the word record. So right now it's like, we can talk about machine generated record, or we can talk about a human produced record. So I think that we need to be a little bit more specific when we use the word record, because that can mean a lot. Or if you are thinking about any type of record, we have to specify that you're talking about AI generated record, machine generated record, or a person generated record, so that it's already included in this policy. Those are my 3 comments.
Ask
Theo?
Theo to make some
Yep,
comment
Theo.
on that.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this bylaw is updating a current bylaw that we have in existence. The bylaw that we have right now, it has a very outdated and very rudimentary schedule attached to it. What we're proposing to do with this bylaw is to remove that one. LGMA, they have a very comprehensive records retention program that has been implemented in most municipalities across the province. That's what we would be using. Best practices doesn't dictate that we would specify it's the LGMA one, but that's what it would be based on for our records. So when we talk about records, we're talking about everything that's created and that's saved by the city. So that includes council agendas, bylaws, minutes, notes that are in files. So when you're thinking about building files, there's notes. Records can be everything from transitory to permanent. So transitory records would be meeting notes that would only be kept for a short period of time and then disposed of. Permanent records are minutes and bylaws, those sorts of things that would be kept indefinitely. So we would be adhering to the best practices that are laid across the province in accordance with the LGMA.
Councilor Baxter.
Sorry, and I would just clarify, it doesn't matter the means by which the record is generated. It's all records created by staff and council and on behalf of the city.
Councillor Baxter.
The only thing I see is the badges, emblems and flags, like things that are substantial, like they cost the city a lot of money, especially digital copies. So, and we don't change the flags, we don't change our emblems, we don't change as often as like 6 years. So we don't change it that often. So is there any way we can keep that one longer so we're not wasting taxpayer dollars?
So there is no schedule laid out attached to the bylaw in the package here. So we would, for things like our flags and our emblems, those would just continue on because it's products that we're using on a regular basis. Material, I don't have the new schedule. The book is literally this thick that we're looking at. And it's got everything in it and it's got a full schedule of how long you keep everything. Hopefully that answers the question.
Anyone else? Councillor Etchart.
Most corporations and large companies have a guideline that's set out that way. And if this other one has been enacted how many years ago, originally, I mean, 23 years ago, whatever. I mean, to follow what LGMA's already done seems kind of the way to go. Anything that's current, we're going to keep. Land projects or indefinite neighborhoods and whatnot, because I know that was my concern when we discussed this in the policy review committee. So this is normal. ICBC does something similar. Everybody has a schedule, how long you had to hold on to records. So this is what most companies do. So that's why I'm in favor.
You? Let's roll.
Yep. No, I just want to say, I hope people didn't misunderstand me. I think this is an improvement. So we are talking about 2004, 2007, the last time that this was updated. So this is better. Personally, I would like to see that schedule before moving forward. And when we talk about if I go to the dictionary and I say record, it excludes any computer programs. Right. So, but that's why I thought that it was needed to clarify what type of records will be included. That's all.
Yeah. And so don't forget too, one of the things we're trying to do is remove things like appendices and schedules that don't necessarily need to be attached to bylaws and policies, because it's easier for us to just update those things than to do the whole policy or bylaw again. So, if we're going to adopt the LGMA schedule book, we obviously wouldn't attach that to the bylaw, but that would be identified as part of our procedure for how we enact the bylaw. But we are trying to take some of those things out so that bylaws stand for a longer period of time without having to go back and look at those schedules and make sure that they're up to date. Or the appendices, trying to make it a little bit more efficient for the long-term retention of these things. But yes, we will have a look at all of those things before adoption.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Second recommendation that the City of Merritt Records Retention Bylaw number 2404/2025 be read a second time. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Etchart. Any more questions on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recommendation that the City of Merritt Records Retention Bylaw number 2404/2025 be read a third time. Councillor Egan, Councillor Etchart. Any questions? Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. New business. 8.1, 1801 Chapman Street, Section 57, notice on title. Opportunity for representation. Anybody here from 1801 Chapman? Nobody? Oh, I'm sorry, Seal.
No worries. We did send a letter to the owner of the property advising them that this would be considered this evening and afforded them the opportunity to either come in person or speak online. I don't see anybody raising their hand online and I don't see the owner here in person.
Okie dokie. We have a recommendation that council directs the corporate officer to file notice in the land title office stating that a resolution relating to the parcel legally described as PID 011-712-1112-112 with a civic address of 1801 Chapman Street has been made under section 57 of the community charter, and further information about it may be inspected at the municipal hall. Councillor Baxter, Councillor Ogan. Questions? Councillor Charn.
What is the result of filing this notice in the land title office?
Mr. Green
Like, what is the objective?
or Seal, sorry.
By having this notice on title, it allows any future purchasers of the property to be aware that that they should come and speak to City Hall and identify that there is an issue that has occurred, as well as any mortgage company. They're now aware that there is something that has occurred on this property that they need to investigate further.
Thank you.
Any questions? Councillor Ogan.
So do we know if there is any outstanding work that needs to be done or every work has been completed at this point?
Mr. Green.
Thank you, Your Worship. Could you please repeat the question? I think I heard, is there any outstanding work? So yes, there's been suites created, plumbing altered, whole bunch of work's gone in that building without permits.
So by doing, filing these notice, that's not going to stop, that's not going to stop the owner from continuing doing the work.
No, I don't think they're ongoing anymore. They're occupying all the stuff that they've done.
There is no.
They just haven't corrected anything or applied for the permits. I think one deck got a permit applied for, none of the other things are. This is a progression in our enforcement of things we're able to do. This is still one of the more cost-effective things because there's not a lot of cost involved other than preparing reports, staff time and whatnot to do this. If we have to get more enforcement going, then we have to start taking legal channels, which then really starts costing money. So the point made in the memo was that we don't know the risk to the people living in these places because things are all covered up and work has been done that they can verify that it's been done safely. So anybody living in there is at risk. To that matter, if we don't continue on a path of enforcement, the city can place itself at risk as well.
Okay. So I'm familiar with liens and some judgments. I'm not familiar with notice on title. So do we have to renew this notice on title as every certain years? No?
No, it'll stay with the property until we remove it or the property subdivided or something like that, in which case we wouldn't allow the subdivision without dealing with that
With addition.
if the condition still sits. So we would have control of that going forward.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Green, we've done a section 57 before and they complied and the 57 was lifted, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so this is a tool to help
Very
us
much
get
so.
there.
Very much.
Councillor Etchart.
So in the report, you were talking about how this originated from applying for post office boxes was going to be a cost because it was registered as a motel instead of single family rentals.
Yeah, so
Is it
basically they
permanent?
came into the office and explained their situation, which highlighted
That they didn't
that there
apply
was
for
a
permits.
problem that got investigated and then down the rabbit hole we went. So
So what I was wondering is, do we have any further options like revoking occupancies so that they can't rent these out? I mean, I know people are renting there and we don't want to do that, but
down the enforcement channels, I mean, it's gonna start costing legal fees in order to start doing things like that. We can't physically do it ourselves. Revoking an occupancy without knowledge, I mean, things could be safe for all we know. They just can't and haven't demonstrated that things
Yeah.
are safe. So right now, the goal is to get them applying for permits, put some pressure on and try and get them to show us the work that was done and make sure that it was done to proper compliance.
yeah, because
We can go down the road farther.
it does mention in the report about having some of the basement units that were added without egress, so I can appreciate why you would want that.
Yeah.
For safety and making sure the electrical and smoke detectors and things are working safely, but
So yes, short form, yes, we can go down the road a little bit more severely.
Yeah.
We're just trying to follow the path right now that moves things along, hopefully with creditors and potential purchasers, knowing that there are problems that they're in non-compliance, that may push the compliance thing with them.
Well, and the other thing is if they're in non-compliance with the city, if they ever had an insurance issue, that could.
It could cancel their insurance,
Yeah,
right?
yep, that's possible.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Okay, thank you.
So being on TNRD, we probably do 3 of these every TNRD meeting. And we've, after 3 years, finally, with a long history of court cases, finally closed one. And it was a long haul. And unfortunately, the woman had to take her entire house down, and it was unfortunate. But this is just a tool to get the conversation started, really, so. Thank you, Mr. Green. Any other questions, Mr. Green? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I have a mover and all those in favor? Opposed, carried. 8.2, Spirit Square Safety and Security. We have 3 recommendations. I'll just do one at a time here. Recommendation that council direct staff to install temporary construction fencing around the Spirit Square to secure the area and reduce unauthorized access with an upfront cost of approximately $2,800 and an ongoing monthly maintenance at $175 per month, funded from capital project reserves. Need a mover, Councillor Organ, Councillor Baxter. Questions on this? Well, I hate to say it, but we're at the point where we have to do something with this square. The biggest complaints that I get constantly is what's going on in there. And I think it was last Friday, we had 15 overdoses on Thursday and 6 on Friday. We had naked people running around in there. They've started carving into the building and real damage is being done. So unfortunately, this has to come out of the loop at this point in time. And we have to look at some form of permanent fencing, but that's just where we're at. Let me push the magic button here. Councillor Hogan.
Thank you. So difficult topic to deal with. And like everyone says, we have to do something about it. In my mind, I'm more interested in the long term. And I'm really looking forward for that plan to see how that plan can look like. I feel that any option at this point, it's going to be just for the time being a temporary solution. And most likely, and this is what I feel, most likely they will move to a different spot and we will have to deal with that new spot at some point. So I want to know the time frame. If we go with the to erect the temporary construction fencing, what's the plan here? Are we thinking about keeping that fencing for a couple months until we get the long-term solution, or at least the plan? What are we doing? I'm just trying to have a clear understanding.
See you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I think Councillor Ogan's question is a very valid one. I mean, temporary fencing is rather unattractive. We really will rely on council making a decision in the 2026 budget for how you'd like us to manage it financially going forward. So if the plan is to build a permanent fence or, as we move through the concept design project around Fair Spirit Square, will it be lighting? Will it be video cameras? Will it be fencing? And you're right, they're just going to move somewhere else. They may just move to the alley, so we can't close the alley because that would be one of the ways in which fire and emergency services in RCMP would be accessing. So that won't be able to be closed. Just Spirit Square will be able to be closed. So there's a lot of questions about how it's going to work now, but ultimately we should have some idea of the plan to council in December as we move through the budget process, so council can decide how much they want to invest in a plan to move this forward. Spirit Square is a great concept. It's just such a challenging situation to turn it around right now to be a better used space. Yeah, so I'm hoping it's, by next summer we've got some stuff going, but ultimately it really is going to depend on what's available and the costs of those things as we move through the conceptual design project.
So, Councillor Hogan, one of the things that I've been looking at are the permanent collapsible fences that collapse upon themselves when it's not being used and then drawn back out again when it's being used. The city of Calgary has gone with several of these. The mayor back in Neil Menchie decided that in order to get these spaces safer was to use them constantly after screening them. So the whole idea would then, we need to get some sort of shading in there. it's just too hot in the summer to have people standing out there. So I think the concept plan would be, we need to see what a permanent fencing would look like, what shading would look like, and what we can start using that square for. But yeah, I mean, you can't have temporary fencing up forever. You just simply can't do it. So I understand where you're coming from. Councillor Richard.
I agree with the temporary fencing just because right now, you know, a couple weeks ago, we had people passed out. We had people getting sick in the middle of the day, scaring people away from the post office. It's a problem at night and in the daytime. I think we should go with lighting as well as the temporary fencing, because how are we supposed to host country Christmas with our tree light up? You know, I mean, if we don't put up fencing now, it's going to be a carved mess by the time we get to Christmas time, and we have to do something. It'd be nice if at budget time we can move ahead with what we're going to do with the neighboring building with CPO, but I think in addition to fencing, the camera and lighting, because I think if we light up the alley, it'll maybe reduce the traffic that's there, because that's supposed to be our prime spot that was redeveloped, what, 15 years ago, roughly? And
For the Olympics, that was funding for the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
which is great, but I mean, if we want to use it for our downtown to showcase, you know, the nice things we have in town, we really have to keep it looking nice. And I think that city staff put a lot of time and effort to making it, you know, look tidy, and you don't want to see that building ruined. So I think going with the fencing, but adding some lights would be real.
We do have, the CPO had done a septet on this area in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So we do have some information. It'll just be, again, what is the cost of getting the lighting installed? Is it motion detected lighting? How much is that going to annoy residents living in second story? You know, like there becomes a lot of different parts to this. But ultimately, once we've got that cost, council's going to have to make a decision about how much investment over the next couple of years goes into that.
I don't think it will be any more annoying than, you know, having people sick and drunk and naked in the
There's
alley,
that.
you know, so I mean, sometimes you just have to make these decisions. Not everyone's going to be happy with it, but
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's thrilled to see what's going on there now.
Councillor Sherman.
This is a real problem, and I don't think it's going to be easily solved with temporary or permanent fencing at all. And it's not just at night. So I agree we need lighting, but it's not just at night. You can go down there any time of the day. And, you know, there are things going on, and it's a detriment for our citizens, and it's a detriment for tourism. You know, I've gone by there and, you know, name calling, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any way that we can get the RCMP more involved? You know, if we constantly move them from A to B, then B to C, eventually they're going to get the point. But if we just move them from A to B, that's not the problem. I mean, that's not the solution. We have to solve the problem of why are these people congregating downtown, and what can we do? And I know the CAO's laughing.
That's like a miracle waiting to.
I mean, I know it is, but we're a small community, and you know, I see the same people in the same spot, drinking the same things, smoking the same things every day. And so can we not get the RCMP more involved? I don't know if that's a solution, but it could be a start. You know, the old bump and grind. Move them along, move them along, moving along, and eventually they'll get the point. But you can't give up. It's a hard process. But I think we have to do that, because we know if we fence off Spirit Square, they're going to go somewhere else. And then that headache is not solved. All it's done is it's pushed it somewhere else. So we have to solve the headache, not put a Band-Aid on. We have to solve the problem. And I know every community is facing this. I'm just hoping that maybe we as a collective could come up with something.
So to your point, at the curling rink area where the farmer's market is, we had a memorial table there for Mill. When we had the shelter over there, they took it over. We removed the table, problem disappeared. Down by the Legion, there was a bench at the end by the church. completely covered all the time, everybody going to the washroom openly. Went down and talked to them twice, said, boys, sit here, don't cause any problems. They wouldn't stop going to the washroom openly. We removed the bench, problem's gone. Well, you may have to. The point of the matter is if it's like anything else, if you make it uncomfortable enough, they will move on to another community that isn't so. But right now with Spirit Square, people are terrified to go downtown, and that's not acceptable. We've got businesses like Blacks that are constantly complaining about problems. I mean, gentleman was in there with a knife last month, right? ICS like to use the garden at at the CPO building, but they can't use it because their clients get harassed the whole time they're in there. So comes a point in time where taxpayers come first. Everybody else comes second, I'm afraid. So this is the beginning of something that we can get to, and if we don't do something, you will lose your community. I mean, take a drive down Kelowna at any point in time and see what it looks like now, or Victoria. You got to do something. So that's my 2 cents. Oh, see ya.
Sorry if I could just, I think it's really important with the benches and the picnic tables to recognize there are some human rights issues. And second, I think supporting an organization that will help to develop some day programming to give them some place to go and send them that place would be helpful as well, right? Like, here's a place you actually can go instead of to that park or that parking lot or wherever, right? So helping to make sure that we have programming. Councillor Charney, you're right. This is a huge issue that nobody has given anybody. Nobody has the resources to fix this issue. Otherwise, big cities like Toronto and Vancouver that have all the money would have solved these problems by now, and they haven't, and they won't. And all we can do is, you know, try to be compassionate and find solutions that work in our community. Be nice if we had some extra funding for that, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Councillor Petrosi.
Well, I do know that the police are pressuring some of them. I just see them in cells, certain individuals repeat. And I know it's a head scratcher. I've been thinking about this, and it's a tough go. You know, I guess we just have to see if there's any successes that other communities have made or shown dealing with this issue. But I do agree, we do have to fence it off. And like Councillor Etchart said, more lighting at night would definitely help. But as Councillor Charney said, daytime can be worse. Actually, things happening daytime down there. So it's just a head scratcher, and wondering what the long-term game plan is going to be for that area. You know, so that's my 2 cents.
Councillor Egan. Shabbat.
Yeah, well, I work downtown as well, and I know that even when you put up the temporary fencing, that didn't stop them. They're all still all sitting along that concrete bench that runs all the way up the TNB building. Generally, I end up parking there to go across the street, and it's like I'm that far away from them, and they don't wave. There's garbage all around them. I've suggested to them, pick up the garbage. They just look at me and whatever. And you people know I've taken pictures of them behind the post office, and it's horrific. And that doesn't stop. And there's garbage. And I think 7-Eleven should be partly responsible for a lot of that garbage that's in there as well, because it's all 7-Eleven junk. But I don't know what to do. Like you, Councillor Etchart says that when he goes to work in the place that Kanate's talking about putting their wellness center, there's a population gathering there as well as behind the backside of not the rail yard mall, but Wilshana Square, where the Planet Nail is. I mean, those people are afraid to go to work. And I don't know how you can stop it, but I like the idea of having those retractable fencing because it's immediate and it can be out of the way quickly, and it's permanent. But I just don't know where the money's going to come from to do all of this. And you have to have lots of lighting in that back alley, or I don't see going ahead with any downtown revitalization plan if we can't get this handled, because it'll be putting good money after bad.
So just so you know, the fence isn't going to be it's going to be like 8 feet high. So
Yes,
you're really
yeah,
going to
I
have to
get
make a decision to jump over that sort of thing.
I get it, but they
And-
probably will.
Well, then they'll get
They're
arrested.
getting light enough.
So that's wiry. They're wiry. Counselor Charney.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with the fence, but I think it's not the solution. So Hiram mentioned, with this new wellness center that, he's proposing, and it would have day programs. Now, I know it was seasonal, but could we not try and work with Canate to try and get some type of program that is every day, 24/7? Okay, well, let's cross that barrier when we get there. Let's see if we can just work with them, because you know what? Let's face it, 80% of the people that are the problem are the same people all the time. So if we could deal with those 80%, working with Canate and maybe some other organizations to get those people off the street and into a facility doing something that is worthwhile. I don't know. I know you're shaking your head. I don't know if they would go either, but maybe we could try something. You know, I mean, it's a possibility.
So I walk the community every Tuesday. The people that you're talking about that could go to day programs, these are not these people. These people do not want day programs. These are people who've just been released from jail, have come back to cause problems. I've had a meeting every month, meeting with the RCMP, and it's the same people. They come back, they get arrested, they come in. One gentleman has been back here 5 days. He's been arrested all 5 days. And he keeps getting released. It's his whole thing to do this. And he has the history of getting naked very quickly. So these people are not looking for day programs. I mean, realistically here, these are people who have decided that this is their life and this is the way they're going to be. It's up to us to say, that's great, but do it somewhere else. You're not doing it here. So, anyway, Councillor Etcher.
We're not, this is a tough topic. I just think that at least we have to do something, you know, last council term, we had to make a change on the park and make the bylaw for no camping in the daytime to try and do something. And it didn't seem like the solution then either, but it was a step, it was something to do. And now we don't have the solution in the park. Now they're all over town. It's not an easy to solve problem. You're never probably going to have the perfect solution, but we have to do something. And, you know, we at least have to protect the citizens that want to go downtown and pick mail and not be scared to, you know, walk from the post office to the CIBC. It's a little over the top right now. So, I know in the daytime it's a problem, and nighttime it's a problem 24/7. And I think we just have to do something. And I think at least this is a step in the right direction of something. Doing nothing isn't going to help us get anywhere. The RCMP, I mean, it would be nice if they could do more patrols, but they can't be everywhere. The Coquihalla Highway certainly keeps them busy with all these vehicles on fire. I mean, how do they have time to patrol the downtown? So anyway, I just think that it may not be the perfect solution, but it's a solution for now that we can at least try something else once we try this.
Councillor Hogan.
Yep. I tend to agree with him. So this is not a solution, but we have to try something. So perhaps we will see we already know the outcome, but we have to start somewhere. So while we implement this solution, let's work on the long-term plan, because that's very imperative that we start working on that one, so that we can explore. We must have community engagement, you know, all their stakeholders, so that we can all together put something towards the long-term solution here.
And just to confirm that safety assessment and plan and lighting, appropriate places for lighting and types of lighting and those sorts of things are part of the RFP that we're doing the conceptual design work on right now, with some stakeholders and councillors. RCMP will be in attendance on Friday for those initial workshop to talk about, you know, those things around, particularly around Spirit Square, because Councillor Egan is right. There's no use focusing on other things until Spirit Square is until we have a real plan for managing Spirit Square and keeping it safe. So we can program in it, because right now we can't program in it. And one of the ways to keep a place like that healthy is by programming, but right now we can't program because it's not healthy. So we have to find a way to help keep it a safe space so that we can start programming out of it. But that is all part of the discussion that will be happening, and then will be presented to the community for some additional input at the open house on October 8th.
All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Second recommendation, that council direct staff to install a camera surveillance system at Spirit Square to deter crime and facilitate incident response. The camera system budget is 10,000 plus a monthly operational connectivity charge with a plan for data retention and privacy compliance. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Etchart, Councillor Egan.
I just have a concern that perhaps we shouldn't be moving on this till after Friday. We've had that walkabout.
Sure. If you want to table this till the next one, I don't think there'd be a problem. Is everybody cool with that? We'll table this to the next one. Recommendation that council direct staff to develop a long-term security plan for Spirit Square, including options for all those in favor of tabling until after Friday, sorry. No, any opposition? No opposition. We're good. Thank you. Recommendation that council direct staff to develop a long-term security plan for Spirit Square, including options for permanent fencing, improved lighting, and improved sight lines, and collaboration with police, communities, safety partners to be reported back with detailed cost estimates and implementation timelines. Councillor Etchart, Councillor Petrosi, any questions on this? Councillor Baxter.
Could we table this one until after the Friday?
I don't think it's going to change much. I don't think so. This is just a plan to move forward. So I don't think we'll see much of a difference. And I think, you know, I said it on our walkabout and Councillor Egan said it tonight, until we get this secured downtown, the downtown revitalization cannot go ahead till we get this one figured out. So all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. A3, extension of visitor services to the Bailey House, 2025. Recommendation that council direct staff to amend the lease for the NVHS Bailey House to extend the lease term to December 31st, 2027, aligned with a 2-year extension of the Tourism and Visitor Information Services Agreement with the Nicola Valley Heritage Society, including annual adjustments based on the CLI inflation rate. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Baxter, any questions on this? Councillor Baxter.
Why do we only do a 2-year agreement?
Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so the Visitor Information Center, they got a 2-year term several years back, and they've just kind of continued on with the 2-year term. The Bailey House contract itself was for 25 years, I believe it was, the property.
And the garbage on site, because I know that my daughter worked there this summer and she had to walk the garbage all the way down to the garbage can here, which there was homeless people usually there and it was not always safe. So is there any way we can get garbage so that they're safer?
They could use the arena garbage cans right behind, because I know the pool and the arena use that in that location, and I'm pretty sure they could use that location as well.
I think it's important to remember that one of the reasons that the Visitor Information Center was 2 years at a time was because there was no final decision that this would remain the Visitor Information Center, right? It was taking over for when the old Visitor Information Center was closed and the building condemned. So might be that council needs to make a decision about that. In the next little while, we should make a decision about what the actual plan is.
Councillor Richard.
I just wanted to add that up until about 2019 or 2020, when there was a lease renewal, there was one particular councillor who was not happy that they would get this lease renewal quite easily. And so it ended up going to 1 year at that time and then having to be renewed constantly, which was a waste of time in my opinion. And because I think that they do a good job with organizing everything and running it well, because I think it would cost us more to hire one staff member if it was a city staff member. Anyway, and there's, I mean, the way they run it with volunteers, I think it's nice what they have and the services in there and the ice cream and anyway. But it used to be renewed at 3 years at a time, and then it was a big kerfuffle, and we ended up going to annual renewals, which I'm in favor of renewing it for 2 years.
Sure.
I think one of the reasons the 2 years is also gives continuity on hiring people. So they know they're not just for a year, they know they're 2 years. So I think that's one of the reasons we went to the 2 year.
Councillor Rogan.
I just want to mention that prior council had it at 1 year, but this council approved it for 2 years. Once we started, so we approved it for the 2 years, and I think that is working better for them.
Oh, yeah. Councillor Richard.
Well, it got changed. There was a big, oh, you need to let other people in there thinking that somebody was gonna come in and do it for a lot less. Well, at these rates, who are you gonna get that's gonna do it for cheaper and want to do it as well with volunteer work? And so that's where we went to the 2 year, but yeah, it should have never been put to 1 year, in my opinion. Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Sacco. Appreciate it. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 8.4, responsible use of artificial intelligence tools policy. This policy was recommended to council from the September 4th, 2025 Policy and Bylaw Review Committee. Had a chance to look at it. Nick, can I move her? Seconder, thank you. Mover, Councillor Egan, Councillor Etchart. Let me push my button here. Councillor Rogan.
So can staff provide a quick overview on this item, please?
See it.
Certainly. So ultimately, what we're looking for here is to sort of take a bit more control over how AI is being used in the organization, and ensuring that staff are not using open source AI, which allows our data to go out into the world. So we're looking to provide some parameters for the use of AI. We're working on developing which tool we're going to use as our closed source AI, but also parameters around AI is not infallible. AI is not the equivalent to doing a fact check. AI gathers all the information and synthesizes it. Whether that information is correct or incorrect is irrelevant to AI. It just gathers the information on a topic. And so ultimately what we want to make sure is that people are using AI responsibly, and they're not, so they're fact checking their AI, which almost becomes counterproductive to AI, but it doesn't make the process that much faster, but it does help with people's writing skills and helps them, gather ideas on a particular topic that might take a little bit longer. So I think there are some benefits to it, but we have to have some controls because of privacy issues. We also have to make sure that people understand that reports that are generated with AI or documents created with AI have to be acknowledged that they're an AI document. But that's ultimately it. It's a new tool that municipalities are implementing. Old people with academic backgrounds like myself feel like, oh, you're cheating. But it's a tool, and it's a good tool, and we have staff that are using it very effectively. We just have to make sure, like everything else, we have an understanding of how it gets used in the organization, and it's used safely, minding our requirements for privacy and confidential information.
Rebuttal, Councillor.
Yep. No, thank you. Thank you for this information. I think that I agree in most of the statements. When you said that you enter the information to AI and it's going to produce either facts or non-facts, that's not quite accurate. So I think that you have to learn how to use AI to be able to customize your search and also request references. Where is that information coming from? So that's something that we have to have in place. Yes, absolutely. I think that I agree with you. I feel that this policy is a little too restrictive in my mind, but it's needed. So I wish I had some more flexibility on the policy. Just to give you an example, the province of British Columbia, they don't even have a policy on AI. They have a responsible use of principles that was stated back in May 2025. So this is what we are recommending you to do. Like, there is no even policy. So if I'm not mistaken, and do your research, the only municipalities in Ontario that there is one person, that municipality that has established a policy on AI. It's a 5-page long. It's like a long policy. But yeah, it's needed. And if we do not have the paid version, we should not be using it, because this is sensitive information that should not be used in open source. By the way, there is a training coming for community features this Friday. If you're available at NDIT from 11:30 to 1, that could be good. It's going to be a professor coming to deliver this training. So that's going to be good. So my last question is, a paid version is not cheap. And I understand that we have to pay per member using that version. So do we have the budget? Because how many people are we going to be talking about, within the staff? And if we have the budget for that.
So I would suggest it's less than half of our staff that will ever create documents on behalf of the city. And that'll be budget discussion because right now, the closed source that we're looking at is Copilot, which is part of our Microsoft suite. But as we move through our retention, our policy or records retention and organizing our records into a way that better meets the organization's needs, you know, we are going to be having to make some decisions about AI and how that accesses records and those sorts of things within the organization. So there will be a budget discussion about this. We're looking at probably somewhere over the next 2 years, about $100,000 worth of work. And then probably some operational maintenance over the time. So, but that's not just AI. That's like, as we're thinking about what our requirements are going forward with our IT department, you know, we've done a really great job getting rid of the unnecessaries in the IT department, saving lots of money, changing our phone system. So we're saving $3,000 a month. So that, you know, the director's done a great job with the IT team getting some of these things fixed so that we can have a meaningful discussion about the cost is the actual cost of maintaining our systems, including our AI and our records retention over the coming period. But there's a lot of work to be done. I would say we're behind, but I feel like probably all municipalities are in the same space. And this discussion about AI was a big discussion at our LGMA conference this year. Very big, very mixed feelings from municipalities, lots of pros, lots of cons, people in support. And it is a huge question about whether or not we should be using AI because we can't necessarily with OpenAI unless you are very well trained, you don't necessarily know, like as his saying, yes, like anything, if I was doing research at the Library of Congress, I would have to know what my search terms are. Same thing in this, you need to understand how to search the information you want. Otherwise you get garbage in, garbage out, which we would say in academic searches, garbage in, garbage it out. So we have to make sure people are well trained. I'm not sure if it's the same organization, but we have some training that's likely to be coming up in the next 6 months or so around staff use of AI. So
okay.
I don't know. I don't have all the right answers. Sorry.
Councillor Baxter.
Just so that the taxpayers, the citizens of Merritt know that if you generate a document, it's gonna say on the bottom, AI helped it.
That would be part of our procedure for how we implement the policy. So it's not in the policy necessarily how we will acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge it. That's in the policy, how we implement that. So it might say something like that. I personally don't use AI, but so yeah, but that's what we will do. Yeah.
Partially AI generated.
Councillor Egan.
Yeah, thank you. That's why I was thinking that some of this should be mentioned in the records policy. Because they are gonna be interrelated. So it's not like your records are just gonna be stored somewhere that in a big vault where nobody else any access to it. Because AI will have helped generate some of those records and it could be out there. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, just moving along here, at the policy meeting, the mayor suggested that perhaps Alexa isn't always updated on a regular basis because he said he asked Alexa who the mayor of Merritt was, and it was Mayor Brown. However, moving along is Copilot because it's Microsoft. What's the difference? You know, Alexa is Apple. Do you know that Copilot is that much better than Alexa?
So we're not necessarily looking at what it's generating, it's a closed source. So information that we put into Copilot does not go out into the world. It is only usable by us.
Isn't Alexa supposed to be the same thing?
No, that's an open source.
That's open source.
So when it's open source, it means any data we put in can now be used as part of their synthesis. With a closed source like Copilot, it is closed, only we're gonna have the access to that data. That is why there is no perfect AI solution. So you have to fact check, right? And so if you're not sure who the mayor of Merritt is, and it says it's Mayor Brown and they were elected at this date and there's no new election date, you probably should check that, right? Like you have to know you still need to critically analyze the data that you're getting. And that's the part where I think, you know, the kids are learning it now. And as those of us that are a little bit older, I mean, when I Google things, I get that little AI summary. I I like to look at it, but I don't use it as part of because I still have to fact check it. For official work, right? So we have to figure out how that works. But Copilot secure, there's no data going out into the world. It may not be correct. But it's like, everything else, but the magical cloud, like there's all these things that we'll never understand. It's black magic.
Well, at least Siri's right, because I'm the mayor of Merritt, so. Councillor Charney.
Maybe this is a question for our CFO. Are we currently putting money aside for purchasing the AI program and all of this? No?
Also, this will be a budget conversation, and then we'll have to revisit both the capital and the operating side. So as we're transitioning a lot of programs to cloud, some of our capital requirements may come down, but those dollars would then need to shift into the operational side. So right now we budget about 100,000 a year in capital infrastructure costs. It's reasonable to expect that that will probably come down. Our operating costs as things transition to cloud solutions are probably going to continue to increase with subscription services. So there will be some trade-offs that happen between the capital and operational side. The net impact would be part of the budget conversation with council.
Okay.
So I could say, Councillor Charney, that like if we were going to buy a brand new server to keep everything on site, it would be probably $35,000, but we have to have a backup server for another $35,000. So, those costs are something we don't have to pay anymore if we're going to cloud-based. However, every single software program that we use, and we need these software programs, these are essential programs to our operations, have all gone up well beyond the cost of inflation this year. Right? We're looking at some of them. I think somebody said 9% increase this year in one of our programs. Central Square went up 9%. That is our main software program for all of our finance functions and our human resource functions. So the cost of software, organizations like ours are very dependent on data software, and it's all going up like crazy amounts. So yeah, this budget is going to continue to grow, unfortunately, because we have no control over that stuff. And we have to have it.
One of the other things that we're finding is that most of the software programs, you used to be able to just go and buy a software program and then you would have it. They're moving and transitioning to licensing. So you have to pay monthly, yearly subscription fees. That is the trend of all software. That's where they make their money. So that's something that we are definitely factoring in, and we're being very cognizant about who has what licensing and what level of licensing. So we're being very meticulous about how we spend dollars, city dollars, and what we spend it on.
Councilor. Yeah, I just want to mention that to give you an idea why we have to budget this. So you said that maybe half of the people or staff will be using ChatGPT. That means 100, 150, how many people?
Like
just any AI.
AI probably maybe 40 people.
40 people. So the ChatGPT for Zero, it's $200 per month per person, US dollars, right? So if we are going to be multiplying in Canadians for times 40 per month, that is going to be something that we really have to think about it to be able to budget that.
Yeah. Like, for example, at one point, and again, the Director of Corporate Services has done a great job with the IT department, is every single staff member had a full Microsoft suite. So the person who is fixing the road, patching the road in the summer, who's a seasonal employee, had a full Microsoft suite. So they had access to every single part of Microsoft, right? I don't even know what that's a month, but now we're down to, okay, these people need email, these people need Microsoft Word, these people need this. So now we're getting to a place where we're like leveling the services that people are able to access, because we don't need that, right? If you're never going to write a briefing note, you don't need anything more than email.
Thank you. All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
I'm the non-seen one. Where's my stick anyway? Yes, I was just thinking, and maybe it's different for a corporation. But when I bought my Microsoft 365 or whatever it's called now, a Copilot comes with it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so it's free. So I'm just wondering if a corporation with so many employees, you'll probably have to buy a license with a package, right?
Right now, Copilot is incorporated in our Microsoft packages. I'm sure that caused some increase in the cost of Microsoft, and it may change, but right now we have Copilot as part of our packages. And we'll continue to monitor what the costs are of that.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 8.5 Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Policy. This policy was recommended to council from September 4th, 2025. Policy and Bylaw Review Committee. Councillor Etchart, Councillor Petrosi, any questions on this? Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Well, that was easy. Notices of motion. Councillor Regan.
I'm not sure if this is a notice of motion or something that should be under reports from council. But Councillor Charney and I met with a local developer up in Grandview Heights, and he expressed his concerns about the driveway grade percentages for new driveways up in Grandview Heights. And he's wondering why the grades went from 25% to 15% in one particular area, where the other areas, it's a new development, they're able to stay at 15%. So I would like to make a motion that council be informed by the director or the planning department as to how they justified these changes.
Would council like Director Green to come up and give
Yeah, we
you
probably
an
should,
update
because
this moment, or would you like
this is
a
already,
written briefing note?
this has already been addressed, so Councillor,
Director Green?
Director Green, would you like to? Yeah, sorry. You're
Thank
up.
you, Your Worship. So in short, there's been no changes. The standards in the bylaw have been there for quite some time. There's been driveways being built for years that didn't meet those standards, but there was not oversight applied after the fact because there was just a building permit and the building department wasn't necessarily conversing with the development people when things were happening. Now that we're doing that throughout everything, we're not allowing, and it's actually in the building bylaw and has been for quite some time, that if other bylaws have not been followed or infringed upon, they don't allow occupancy on a building until those bylaw infractions are corrected. So 15.
Is that why some of those properties up there are at a standstill?
Not the ones where there's foundations, it's where there's actual houses built. Getting occupancy at that stage is where we're running into the trouble. So we go and do a check for the zoning requirements and general construction in and around the road. The other part of this is they haven't been applying for their public works permits to actually build in a road allowance. So had they done that, they would have talked to me at that time and they would have been told, this is the way the driveway goes. And it's not 25%, it's not 15%, it's maximum 3% within the road allowance to the property line. And then it's a maximum of 15% from there up. But the desired amount, I think, is 10 or 12%. So 15 is an outlier for the hillside part of the community, but they've been running stuff at 24, 25% right from the back of curb up, and that's dangerous. But they don't apply for the permits to get everything. So if they applied for the permits, we would have had those conversations before they did the work, and it would have been fleshed out there. Had they provided functional lock grading plans before they, at the time they brought their building permits in and somebody turned them over for us to look at, we would have identified it at that point and said, this doesn't map out. Your house needs to be lower or whatever the case. But they put a thing on their drawing that says driveway maximum 15%. You come back and check it, it's 24 or 25%. Right? Not building it to your own drawings, not getting all the required permits, not following the zoning bylaw. This is all on the person building the house.
And in the new area where all those bigger places are being built, are they able to get away with greater than 15%?
New area where?
Grandview Heights.
No, the maximum is 15%, and that's only sort of, it's above the desired. The target is much lower than 15, like closer to 10 or 12. Can't quote the exact number, but 15 is a maximum. And a number of things have been built, 40, 50% I've seen on Grandview Heights Road, and none of
Some
that should have happened.
They're really bad, yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally unsafe. You're gonna have vehicles cutting loose, landing in the middle of the road, hitting people. It doesn't happen every day. It's possible. So the engineering standards for driveways, when we're talking to these people that want variances, our response is, you provide me with a stamped engineering report that supports your request. We'll have a look at it and bring it forward. If you can't do that, just because it's not convenient or you're not getting your best view is not good enough.
I don't think he was looking for his best view. He was just looking at building.
Depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Right? The one I think I know you're talking about, houses were built on either side with these ugly driveways to perch the houses up so they could look over top of the apartment building. There's no geotechnical or engineering reason why they can't bring that lot down. They built a road right there, cut way down. There's no reason why they can't cut the lot too. So it's not a matter of convenience, it's a matter of standards and safety.
Yeah, well, he had already built his own house and it
Yep.
was greater than.
Yep, and he wants to do one beside it now. And the excuse we got in the letter was geotechnical issues, can't build the house down there, and yet somehow the developer managed to cut through that same area and build a road. So it's a matter of convenience and view.
Okay.
I just want to be clear that our expectations and our standards are, and our permitting processes are the same as everywhere else. We're not asking for anything unique. We do not make up any different rules. And as you said, some of those driveways are frightening. And our responsibility, the reason we adopt a building bylaw that follows the building code is that if we do not follow the building code with our building officials, the city is liable for any injuries or damage or deaths that occur because of not enforcing the building code.
Well, I haven't seen the plans for the newer, larger home developments further down where the roads are still being built. So we're not going to be having any surprises there.
Well, we've had conversations with the developer. We've encouraged them to move more dirt and build building platforms in all these places already pre-graded. He's refusing. It's not part of our standards to make him do that. So we end up employing the standards lot by lot and making sure that things are done correctly. But whoever buys lots in a lot of cases has to do a lot of work to get them into compliance, which isn't unusual in BC. As an example, my sister built a house on the island, and after she bought her $500,000 lot, she had to put $400,000 worth of blasting and work into it to make it buildable. It happens, right? You have to go in there with your eyes open and understand the world you're building in. And we can't just build, runways to the stars.
Okay, I'm
Right.
just making a point though. When those new big houses go in, we're not going to be in for any surprises there.
I think it's really important, Mr. Green, is that the previous level of enforcement was inadequate. The departments were working siloed. So Public Works, Development Services, and Building Services were working as three different separate entities. It's not the case now. So we have a better handle on it. We are more willing to enforce these bylaws because we understand that we're going to make people unhappy. There's no more, shotgun wedding kind of decisions being made here. Right? There's a reason for these bylaws. We will enforce these bylaws. That's, that keeps the risk to the municipality at a minimum. So in that new area, they will provide the appropriate drawings, they will provide the appropriate engineering, and they will get their occupancy based on that. When you're providing drawings that are not equivalent to what you've actually built, then there's a problem with that. So that will be addressed. It will continue to be addressed as long as this administration is here, is that people have to follow the rules for everybody's safety. So you should not have any surprises.
Thank you for that.
There should not be any surprises. Mr. Green is very.
And if I may, one of the things that we're insisting on before anybody builds anything, which is why that particular lot came to your attention ahead of time, is our bylaws require lot grading and drainage plans for years. Right in our standards, right? They've been giving very minimal things. Here's a building grade, here's a 15% driveway grade. I'm expecting and send things back until I get it. Elevations on sidewalks, elevations on lot corners, everywhere there's a change. Somebody gives me a plan, I math everything out and make sure it works. Then I tell them either fix it or it's okay. Right? So we're doing the full process, not just clearing our desks. Oh, yeah. It's been identified and talked about at length, and you know, if you build a house up there, you have to understand the world you're building in, and it's gonna take some money to get those lots shaped.
That's true.
CAO answered my one question with regards to standard of rules, right? In this particular case, I think one of the concerns was he could have built on those lots with the correct grade, except it would cost him over $100,000 in landscaping to do that. And he was trying to build affordable housing. So once he added the $100,000 in the landscaping to get that correct grade, it's not an affordable housing anymore. So I think that was one of his concerns.
We got the same pitch, 100%.
Yeah, and
The
I understand
finances
you have to.
involved in this stuff, you know, are not our concern.
Yep.
The standards and the safety is, there are perfectly good lots on Springbank that are a lot less money that they can build affordable housing on, that are flat, ready to build on. If you choose to do it there, it's gonna cost a little bit more money because you're on the hillside.
Yep, I understand that. Okay. Now, this 15% or maximum 15, is that up and down?
No, maximum grade.
Maximum grade, I mean.
So if
wait,
you're coming down, it can't be
down?
more than 15%. Bearing in mind though, that when you're coming up the back of walk or back of curb to the property line, which is usually a couple of meters away, that can only be up to 3%. And then you can build your driveway on your property to a maximum 15%. We're getting stuff built in the city right of way at 24, 25% as well. And that's not gonna work.
So how far in did you say?
Behind the back of walk or back of curb, the property line for your lot is usually a couple of meters back. That section, maximum 3%.
Okay, and then on your property line, you can go up to maximum 15.
From your property line up to your garage or whatever, yes, maximum 15.
15, okay. I just look at that new development that is up behind whatever that pub is called up there. Game On, is it Game On? I don't know how they're gonna do any driveways in there, and I don't know how they're gonna build houses. I mean, it's like this.
Yeah,
So,
they have to do some work on those lots, and part of the
goodness.
problem with not doing that as part of the subdivision, you know, you'll invest more in the lots up front, but you'll get more for the lots in the end in theory, because you set a building table for everybody and they'd be able to follow it. Now we're gonna end up with a lot here and a lot there. These guys build, and then the guy next to them has to dig everything down, and you can't do it without disturbing this guy. But that's the world he chooses when he builds his subdivision that way and sells his lots that way. He can do a lot more if he wants to. I've encouraged it.
That's scary.
Councillor
Thank
Turk.
you.
I think the comments went on so long that I kind of got lost in all the comments, but the one big concern that I'm a little worried about is if people are building with 24% grade and then they have to rebuild the home for whatever reason, fire or something, they're not going to be able to rebuild that way anyway. Because now with the permits that we have in force, I mean, it's against, how would they get occupancy, and do these houses with these driveways at 24% have occupancy now?
Well, they can't
Living
get
in it doesn't mean they
occupancy.
have occupancy.
Yeah. Houses that were allowed occupancy by the building officials in the past, without anybody doing the other bylaw checks.
Yeah.
They're in, you're not likely gonna revoke occupancy.
Yeah.
Over a driveway because it's not germane to the
Yeah.
occupancy of the house. That said, there's other options for them. They can, you know, build parking down lower. You know, you can terrace your lot and do parking up part ways.
Yeah.
But to go all the way up to your garage because you jacked your house up this high to get the best view, those are choices they make.
Yeah.
Right?
Might be easy, yeah, have a covered walkway from that, yeah.
Yeah.
There's choices.
And it's tough, but because we follow bylaws and policies, I can't approve these things until all the bylaws are in compliance. I can't have the building officials approve these things without the bylaws being in compliance. Right? I can't do anything about stuff that was done 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but I can do my job now and say, I'm obligated to follow the bylaws. And that's what we do.
even when Grandview was developed, like the apartment at the end, 2802 was built in the 90s, 98. It had people moving in June 1998. There's some of the first people moving in there. The bylaws and the occupancy and all the inspections were a lot different then, so.
Well, driving into that, that's.
Oh, yeah, that's an adventure on its own. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks for the information.
Councilor Petrosi. Mr. Green, can you explain that one downhill to the house? You said it's 3%?
Yeah, so if it's downhill to the house, you'll have your road cross section like this, with a curb sitting where my watch is, and you'll have a sidewalk potentially. Then it should be up 3% as per our standard, and then to the property line, and then from there, you can go down to your house, maximum 50%.
50, okay, okay.
And then you'll have a break in your driveway like this at some point, whatever the grade difference is.
Right, right,
If you're going up, you're gonna have a flatter spot, and then you can go up.
right.
If you're going
Okay,
down,
okay.
you gotta go up first, and then you come down.
Thank you.
Right? And remembering that these areas all have stormwater management as well. So the reason for the cross-sectional 3% is the holding and controlling of water during runoff. If you have a driveway right at the back of curb that does this, you've just created a trough right into your house. Right?
Thank you.
There's reasons for everything, sorry. Okay, thank you.
Reports from council. Am I the only one? Oh, Councilor Chern.
I don't have much to say, but
Excellent.
just wait. September 2nd, there was a short council meeting, and on September 4th, the policy review, which is always lively. I enjoyed that. And I also have to announce that Enbridge gave the Thompson Nicola Regional Trail Society $5,000 for the hard surface of the trail.
Oh, wait.
So we're just the president, which happens to be my hubby, is now currently soliciting more money and using Enbridge as an example of contributions from community. So that was good news.
Fantastic. Who's next? Councilor Richard.
Well, in the last 2 weeks, I mean, other than getting to enjoy our lovely rodeo, that was great. Seeing a lot of people there, lots of competitors, it's great. And I was at the policy review with Councillor Charney and Egan and the other two, Baxter and our mayor. And then closed session, so we didn't have a lot because, you know, some people are on holidays, but we're making up for it this week. So that's it.
Councilor Egan.
Yes, I don't have a lot either, other than the meeting with the developer, September the 2nd. I went to the meeting with short meeting with council, September the 4th, policy review, and also Sunday to the rodeo. It was great. Thank you.
Councilor Baxter.
On the 29th of August, I went to the International Overdose Awareness at Spirit Square. Saw the mayor there. On the 2nd, I went to the special council meeting, and then on September 4th, I went to the policy meeting.
August 29th, I went to Overdose Awareness Day as well. Did the rodeo. September 2nd, RCMP mayor meeting with monthly meeting with staff sergeant. September 3rd, mayors and chairs fire update. Before we had the big fire, everything was looking great then. And now we've had the big fire. September 4th, policy committee. Gas buddy, here we go. Vancouver, 176.9 on the low side, 182.9 on the high side. Supposed to go up 9 cents by tomorrow morning. Because mysteriously, there's a pipe broken somewhere in Washington. Vernon, 145.9 is the low, 149.9 is the high. Victoria, 167.9 is the low, 188.9 is the high. Barrett, we're at 152.9 for low and 155.9 for high. Just want to point out that I'm really impressed with the job that the people who own the Coldwater Hotel are doing on that Coldwater Hotel. They've done an amazing job. I see them hanging off that building with scrapers and there's stuff flying all over the place. It looks great. It really does. So it is really sprucing up the downtown. I'm glad somebody has finally decided to move in on that. And then I did several radio spots on the Mine Creek fire because there was a lot of misinformation going around, and wanted to thank Adam Hart for being ready in case he ever had to be. So that's me. Okay, Anyone else? No? RCMP report, information items are right there in front of you. Sorry, CAO report, my mistake. CAO, let's back it up. There we go.
So this meeting, you see the RCMP report, and we've added the communications update for the first part of the year. We will be making a communications update monthly to council, so you can see what types of communications are going out, how often they're going out. So, you know, if we have an event, how often those types of communications are going out, and in which ways, so that council can see our attempts to be as transparent about opportunities to be involved in decision making in the community as possible. So you'll start to see that monthly. Biggest thing I want to talk about is the open house on October 8th, mostly because you only have one more meeting before that, which I think is the day before the open house. No, it's the week after. You have no more meetings before the open house. So October 8th is the open house. We're gonna have a number of things. You'll have a chance again to talk about water meters, the dike protection plan. We'll have concept designs for Spirit Square and Fairley Park and the Spray Park. We'll also be talking about sponsorship opportunities in the community. So for instance, the Spray Park is a $500,000 project. The Spray Park doesn't have all the features currently working. It is 4 years to 5 years beyond its expected life. So it needs a replacement. Might be a great project that people want to buy a feature. Their business may want to buy a feature. So I'll have Alex, whose last name has just changed to something I can't remember because she just got married on the week. Oppenheimer, thank you. I saw that today. So she'll be there talking about opportunities for sponsorship for some of our projects in the community, which will help to offset some of the cost to ratepayers, hopefully, because we don't have extra money to throw around, and hopefully some businesses can come in and support things.
So that would be Alex Oppenheim, not Oppenheimer. I don't want people.
Oppenheim, sorry.
Don't want people to confuse that she made the atomic bomb.
Okay, sorry.
So just.
Thank you. I didn't need to put the ER in there. We'll have, I think, we're gonna have a few other things coming there, but lots of opportunities for some community feedback on projects that we're currently working on. Yeah, very excited to think that Community Services has a number of things, Public Works has some things. Recovery probably always has some things. The fire department will be there. We just had a deployment to the Mine Creek Fire for only a couple of days, but our bush truck went out, so we'll be cost recovering some funds for that, which will be nice, a little bit of revenue generation for that department. So,
Thank you.
okay.
So in the police report, the only thing that really concerns me is they seized 4 more firearms in August. That brings our total to 83 for 2025. So I've let one of the private member bills that I'm hoping that Frank Caputo will move forward with is dealing with these illegal firearms. So hopefully he'll get on that. That's one of the things I sent him. Councillor Egan. Okay, it'll come back. Think. Okay. Think hard. Think hard. Nope. Going. Thank you. Closed session. Recommendation that this meeting be closed to the public pursuant to section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements, and K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at the preliminary stages if the council considers that the disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality of the community charter. Councillor Baxter, Councillor Etchard, all those in favor? 5 minutes. Smoke if you got it.